Hello, friend. I am out here on my walk, and I'm walking up a hill. I'm out of breath. It is icy cold out here. It's the dead of winter still, but I am determined to get out and move. I am trying my best to navigate another season of grief, and I'm trying to take with me everything I learned in the last one that helped, trying to make it easier on myself. And I remember that journaling, which is this, my podcast, this audio journal, and getting out on a morning walk every morning that I can was just really healing for me personally. So, combining the two. And I also got a new mic. Woohoo! So I have the Blue Yeti, and I love it, but it is not a walking mic. It's way too bulky. It's really hard to manage on the go. And my alternative is like my white Apple corded earphones, which are okay, but they don't do great in the wind, and they're definitely not like podcast quality. So I got this new one. It is a Rode wireless go-to, and it's supposed to be really good. I'm not gonna lie, it was a pain in the butt to get it set up, and I thought it was going to be easy. I guess I had too high of expectations. Like I thought it was just going to be small and lightweight and no cords and teeny, perfect for just walking. I don't know that I love it. And this is my first test with sound. So that's part of why I'm pulling the mic out today, is I want to see how this one goes. So you'll have to let me know how the sound is. I think I did the last maybe 2 or 3 episodes with my white corded Apple earphones because, sorry, I'm going past a loud truck. I did the last few episodes, I think, with my corded Apple earphones, which I didn't love, but I was waiting for this mic to arrive. And I hope those episodes get out because I was looking through them today to try and I don't really do a lot of editing, but I try to just clean up a little bit, so it's easier to listen to. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm missing a whole episode. I could find some of Nikki's parts and some of some of the episode after, which was like a part 2, but I couldn't find I think it's episode 4. And so I'm super bummed about that because it was a really good one. But, yeah, I don't know where it was going with that. You may or may not hear the transition in episodes from my Apple corded earphone mic to this one. But let me know how the sound is. If I'm ever at home, I'm on my Blue Yeti. But yeah, we're just going to give it a go. And, yeah, I don't know that I have anything special to say today. This is just going to be a yap session. We'll see what comes out of it. It may just be me talking. We'll see if Nikki's up for chiming in. I know that she has been having a rough last few days. And you know what? Maybe it's a sign we need to redo the episode that got lost. I have surrendered my life to God, and I am learning that when there's a bunch of blocks in the way of something, He's just saying no. I need to do it different. So maybe that's what this is. But I think actually it might be good because it was an episode on being in the victimhood. The hood as in, one of those neighborhoods that sometimes you break down in and you don't want to be there. That's a hood you don't want to get stuck in. And we were talking about how on this journey we have to sometimes go through, sometimes we can start to feel like a victim, and that can be part of our journey. And sometimes we have to go into that neighborhood and we have to work on what is there, which is this victim mentality. But we don't want to get stuck there. And so we were calling that episode the victimhood. And I think, you know what, maybe it's more relevant now than ever because Nikki, I know you've had, if she chimes in, Nikki's had a really rough last few days. And I even recorded her a pick-me-up. It was just like a prayer and declarations and just kind of giving the enemy the middle finger while in that spot. Because I was also in that spot at the same time. I still am. Right now I've been having a rough last few days. And I was like, you know what? I got to get on top of this thing because I don't want to get stuck here. And so I went out and I just did a very fiery prayer / declaration for Nikki specifically and for myself. And I wasn't planning on adding it to the podcast at all. And then Nikki got it and she loved it so much. She's like, "Are you going to add this to the podcast?" And I was like, I wasn't going to, but she thought it was really good. So I think I'm going to tack it on to the end of this one if it gets published. And yeah, it's just a fiery one for that place. Like, no, I'm not going to let the enemy come in and steal, kill, and destroy my destiny, my promises, my benefits, my blessings, because this victim mentality, this old man is back for a visit. And again, we were just talking about like how you respond when that comes about, and also like in real life, not just talking about it, but how does it actually look? And I think it's a really beautiful time to talk about that because I feel like me and Nikki are both here right now. And it's no longer just talking about it, but how do you actually move through that? And maybe this won't be a super inspirational, motivational podcast because we're in the thick of it, but it's going to be real. And I'm going to just go off of that. And I'm going to just do my whole part in case, Nikki, you're not feeling up to responding because I know you're going through it right now. And then I'll at least have maybe a podcast of my own. And if you want to chime in at the end of it. I feel like this is all over the place right now. But again, I don't know if I'm going to exactly publish this one. It's just kind of a test for the mic. But yeah, so I think that for me, what I've learned, and I used to be stuck in the victim mindset after my Jade passed. I visited that place, that alley in the journey, and I stayed there for a while. And woe is me, poor pity me. And I became very angry at God there. I felt abandoned. I felt, I saw this comment on TikTok the other day, and it was like, I remember that feeling. And he was just saying, well, he had a loved one pass. And he was like, is this my punishment from God? Am I being cursed for whatever? And that kind of encapsulates it. It's just this place of like, everything's against you. And if you've been through enough crap, I caught myself in it, swear. If you've been through enough crap, it can start to pile on and add on. And eventually you just start to feel like a victim. Like, what did I do? How come I can't get out of this? What's wrong with me? Or, is God not there? I could go into the thought process that goes into this, but I'm not going to, because you could go on forever. And that's the thing. If you feast on that and you let it become your truth and your identity, the bottom is endless. There is no bottom to it. And I think that it can be very challenging, very difficult when you are in the grips of that. When the enemy comes on you, something's gotten triggered, the old man's gotten triggered, or this victim mindset's gotten triggered, and we start to feel sorry for ourselves, and we start to believe the lies of the enemy. And how do you hang on to your faith? How do you stay in those promises? How do you endure? I mean, let's be real. I was there, and I have gotten to the other side of that. Thankfully, by the grace of God, He brought me through that when I finally surrendered it to Him. And He gave me a new identity. He gave me a new mindset. He gave me a new perspective. He built my faith. He rebuilt me. And I remember the day that my Lydia passed, 3 years after Jade, almost to the date. And I remember, I think I've said this before, so I might be repeating myself if you've listened to any of the other episodes, but I was just standing there in the street, and I just felt completely and utterly overwhelmed, in complete shock. And it was like a slow motion movie. All around me was just a blur, and there was just all these frantic people. And I just had this moment, like I will never forget it. And it was like, you have a choice right here. You can choose to trust God. You can choose to make lemonade out of this. You can choose to keep on your new man, or you can go back to the old one. And it would be so easy, and nobody would blame you. Nobody at all would blame you or argue with you if you just decided that you were being punished, that this was too much, that you couldn't handle this, that you wanted to finally break again. Just give up your faith, give up all your progress, like give up how you've changed. Like, this is a lot. And of course, it was a split second that all this was happening. But I just had that moment. And in that moment, again, I heard God said, you cannot do this. But Christ can, and He will. But you got to trust me. You got to take my hand, and you got to let me do it. You got to let me bring you through this. You got to give it to me. You got to follow where I'm leading you, and it might be straight through the eye of the storm. It might be the opposite of what you want. And He just showed me in that moment, like, I didn't cause this, but I will get you through it. And I think if we're aware enough, whatever our mountain, whatever our giant is, it's all a different flavor for each of us, but it's the same walk. It's the same faith journey. It's like, if we're aware enough, we have that moment, all of us. At any point in time, no matter how far down the victimhood rabbit hole we've gone, we have that moment where we can say, do I want to keep going down this victim rabbit hole? I know where it leads. I know what it gets me. I know the seeds I'm watering. I know the fruits that are going to bear in this harvest if I keep giving my heart, my soul, my attention to this and feeding on it. I'm going to get more of what I got. Or even if it's just the teeniest, tiniest baby step. I'm not saying that place is so easy to get out of. It took me a long time. But like, I have a choice to do something different. And it's not the easy choice. It's not. It sometimes takes everything in you. You're hanging by a string, by a thread. Because life has just, I want to swear her, slapped you. You aren't the person who can handle this yet. I've talked about that before. You don't have what it takes yet. You got to go through this journey, and you got to learn what you got to learn. You got to change how you need to change. You need to have realizations. You need to go through the transformation before you are the person who can handle something like that. But when you start out on this journey, you're not. But you will become that if you endure, if you take those steps in a different direction. Eventually you'll grow into that better version of you, that more evolved version of you, whatever your name, like for me, Sandy 2.0, getting that upgrade. And even if it's just tiny steps toward that, you have a choice. We have a choice. What are we going to do? Even if it takes every ounce of strength that we have just to give it to God. Because sometimes you just have to give it to God. That's all you can do. That was me. I didn't have it in me to figure out how to get myself out of this. I needed a higher power. I needed something outside of myself, outside of my own brain, outside of my own thoughts, outside of my own patterns that knew more than me. Because within me, I didn't know how to get out of this. I was drowning in the grief. I was overwhelmed. But I don't think we need to know how to do it. We don't need to figure it out. I think that's part of the problem, is we become reliant on ourselves and we try to figure it out. We try to do it ourselves, and we get what we get. We have to surrender completely. Our ways, our thoughts, our actions, our will, our purpose, everything. For me, it was everything. I had to come to surrender everything. Because who I was, who I'd become, this false identity that I had taken on, it wasn't working. And it's hard. Like, I'm having to go down the path now of forgiveness. That's hard. Of letting go. Of not doing it my way. Of hanging on to my faith even when everything tells me, the old man in me just says, this is a crap show. Like, what are you even thinking? And it's been trying to get a hold of me the last few days. There's a temptation to just feel sorry for myself, and I don't think anyone would blame me. I could go there. I could probably get a lot of support for that. I could create a whole support group around why Sandy should feel sorry for herself. And I could probably get a lot of people to come into agreement with me. I could do that. But I'm choosing to take the harder path. Because one thing I've learned, you can have peace, but it takes a sacrifice. It takes a sacrifice. You have to sacrifice yourself to God. You have to let go. You have to forgive. You have to not choose to go into that victim mindset, not feed that addiction. It's not the easy choice, but you do have a choice. You have a micro choice I can't even capture what I'm trying to say. We have a choice every second of every day. And those choices add up. And they create our reality. And we have to make a million different choices. If you think right now doesn't matter, and you think, oh, I'll procrastinate it, or I'll just feed into this one thought, or I'll just say this one word. I'll let this one word come out of my mouth, even though I know it shouldn't. It's like a big ship. You turn that wheel an inch, and you keep going that direction, you're going to end up in a completely different place. Those inches matter. And that's not to put pressure on you or overwhelm you. But the only choice that you have to make, the only inch that you have to move, is I'm just going to give it to God. That's all I've been doing this whole time. Give it to God, give it to God, give it to God. Every second. And when the pressure's on, it's on right now. When the pressure's on, that's when it counts. And I choose to see when the pressure's on, instead of going into that poor pity me mindset. I'm like, this is a chance. This is an opportunity. Something's being exposed. And I have a chance to heal that. But I got to give it to God. Something's coming up. The pressure is exposing something. When everything is going good, that stuff doesn't come up. It's when the pressure's on. It's when the adversity is against you. It's when the storm is raging. You see what you're made of, what you're really made of where your heart really is. Is your faith strong enough to endure, to hold together through this? Last time I went through this, it wasn't. It completely crumbled. I had to rebuild my faith from scratch. The test is on right now. And you know what? Now I'm built on the rock of Jesus Christ. And my faith is not crumbling, even against the most incredible pressure imaginable. I've heard so many people say, what you are going through has to be one of the hardest things anyone could go through. Not just once, but twice. And my foundation is standing because it's built on Jesus Christ now. It's standing, even though I've had a last few crappy days where the enemy's trying his best in every way possible to bring me down. He's like, oh, Lydia's death didn't do it? Okay, let me throw this at you. Okay, that's not going to work. Let me try something different. Even with all of that, I'm still like, no, God, I love you. I trust you. I have faith. I'm still giving you my heart. I'm still going to love you. I'm still following you no matter what. And you know what? Even though it's really hard right now, you know what? I can't do it, but I know you can. So I'm going to give it to you. And you know what? I know right now that even though I'm in a hard spot, you're developing my faith. Thank you very much. I'm going to have gratitude here. I'm going to see things positively here. So there's a little visit down into the victimhood. The hood, the neighborhood we don't want to get stuck in. And yeah, it's all about choices and habits. And you can start right now, today, make a different choice. And maybe you don't make that choice again for another week. But you know what? Keep making that choice as much as you're able. It adds up. It adds up. That little inch can take you in a whole different direction. That little seed, the little mustard seed, God can take that. That's all I had. I was just kind of slightly willing to see if maybe we could reconcile. But I didn't even have the answers. I was like, you're going to have to do it, God. I don't even know if this is possible. I'm so mad at you. I don't even know if I believe in you. I don't even know if you're out there. I don't even know if I'm willing. But I kind of am. That's all. That is all I had to give God. Pretty much nothing. But there was a small little opening in my door, and He did the rest. So don't underestimate the power of a teeny tiny little seed. That thing can grow into a giant tree, which, as I've said before, if the roots are strong, and sometimes God has to go into the roots and fix our tree, and sometimes that's what these seasons are about. When the pressure's on, you see how your roots are planted. If there's disease, if your tree is going to stand in the wind, sometimes He's got to go fix the soil, fix the roots. But that little seed can grow into a great big tree that can provide shade and fruit and homes and wood and fruit and can stand against the storms. Do not underestimate the power of a little seed. So no matter what you're up against right now, no matter what your giant or your mountain is, no matter how hard it is, take the tiniest step. And it can take you in a whole different direction, like it did me. So, okay, well, I'm almost done with my walk, and I'm going to go home. I'm going to invite Nikki to respond to this. I don't know how she's feeling today. She might not feel in the mood. That's okay. If not, we'll end it here. And if you want to respond, Nikki, you are more than welcome to. And yeah, we'll talk later. Thanks for being here.
Hey, so, oh my goodness, I know we talked about this last week, and then living through it in a whole different way this week gives me like a whole different perspective. I mean, still the same, You know what I'm saying? Still the same. Part 2 is amazing. If you're able to upload that, please listen to that, because that still qualifies. But as I am stepping into, I don't know what season this is. I don't even know how I got here and how this happened, because I was doing great, and then my body decided to send me into a different neighborhood. I don't even know what's going on, but I will say this. I did get crippled for 3 days. I couldn't even move. My body was crippled because of what my body was going through. And I couldn't move. And this is like beyond panic attacks. It's something else. It's like, I don't know. But I think if somebody who's listening to this and who has gone through a lot, and your body is like going through it, and you can resonate with it. Maybe there's a reason why. I don't know. But I will say this. I felt like completely just shutting down. In fact, I basically did for 3 days. And this is why it's so good to have community. This is why it's so good to be surrounded by faith, like-minded people. This is why the podcasts are important, because it was really hard. And Sandy's usually like super busy on the weekends. So we don't get to talk as much. We don't sharpen like we do throughout the week. And she was really busy this week, as she always is. And I didn't get to talk to her. Now, I'm not saying that my faith depends on her and my walk depends on her, but I do say it elevates it and sharpens it and helps it. That's why church is there. You get yourself into a church, and you know, when you show up on Sundays and Wednesdays, you get that little umph in your step. You know, like it was hard. I needed that word again. I needed a word from God. I needed the motivation. Like, it helps. And I was really crippled. And I was sinking into a depression, and I was starting to accept, like, oh man, this is just how it is. I'm expecting to feel this bad. I can't move. It's got me crippled in fear. I'm going to shut down. I'm going to shut down all my social medias. I'm just going to, like, maybe I just need time to just get away from everything, and I don't want no one to see me like this. I just knew that I wanted to get away from everybody, everything. I don't want no one to talk to me. I wasn't trying to be ugly. I just felt like I was shrinking, and kind of like I need to hide under my rock during the season. I don't know why I get like that. I know a lot of other people who are like that. And this is the time that you should reach out for help, even though your instinct is let me shrink. And that's the pattern that I usually do. I really don't ever have anybody to go to or understand what I'm going through. And I just decided to reach out to a couple of friends who know about like what the body's going through when it's holding a lot of stress. And I don't know. I didn't have the knowledge on it. I'm still learning, because I'm thinking it's my fault. My body is failing me. I'm this and I'm that. I was starting to accept these false truths about me, and believing all the negativity that was just flowing through my mind, that was making me more paralyzed, to the point where I was just desperate and wanting to give up at the exact same time. So I reached out for help, and I did receive some from one of our other friends that I memo with all the time. And then she helped me with some of it. And then I reached out to Sandy, and I was like, you know, to be honest, I was like, I can't do, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's happening with my body. I don't have like the tools to get out of this. And she was like, look, she just started to speak over me. She stepped in the gap for me. This is very important. It meant a lot to me, and I could feel like some of the pressure just lift. And I was like, okay. And she's like, it's okay. This happens. And she was just explaining stuff to me and sent me some videos to help me. So I watched them, and then I started to understand, and I was like, I got to get out of this. It wants to cripple me. It wants to, like, you could look at it any way you want to. You could look at it through a spiritual side, scientific, you know, with your body and the science of it. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at it either scientifically or spiritually, the thing is, you can't bow down to it. You know, your mind will give you a panic attack or an adrenaline surge or some type of thing, because it thinks your body's in danger because you put it through so much stress. and you want to shut it down. And you, like I said, you could look at it through science or spirit, both of them. If it's an attack, it wants to shut you down. It wants you to conform to the negative things that are being said in your mind, because it thinks you're in danger, or wants you to believe like this is where you're at, this is where you're gonna be. And I have become in agreement with it, with a lot of the issues that I struggle with, versus panic attacks, agoraphobia, whatever, not knowing any better. But now that we're sharpening and learning, I got to do something different. I can't cower down and shrink down and get stuck in this new neighborhood that I'm in and just kind of stay stuck here and realize, oh, is this my new normal? No, it doesn't have to be. It can be if you keep circling around the same thing and not trying to edify yourself and fill your mind and train your mind, renew your mind, reset your mind, and say, no, you don't have to stay like this. It's going to be hell getting out of it sometimes, because I don't know how much I've dug myself into it. How much have I believed? How much of the pattern do I constantly keep replaying that my body's used to going back to that place? That's why some of us stay in this neighborhood. One thing's for certain, I kept reading. That didn't change. I wake up in the morning, I read. I wasn't speaking over my body as much, though. I think I was more trapped in my mind than anything. And now this week I am doing something different. I am reading, and I am informing myself on what's going on with myself and not conforming to what my body is trying to make me feel I need to do. I'm going to tell my body, I need to speak over my body. My friend spoke over me and started to tell me, don't believe these lies. I'd cancel these assignments on you. And I could feel the burden of what my mind was doing to me, just lifting, giving me space enough to take that breath and say, okay, I get it. I don't have to stay like this. I don't need to live here. This is not my new residence. It's hard. It's hard. I want to break some days. Some days I don't think I have it in me. Some days are better than others. I will say I've been able to sleep again. I had went 2 nights without sleeping. When I finally did sleep, it was only 3 hours. So I know that affected me, and I don't know why. It's like my mind won't shut off, and I'm being very vulnerable here because I do not share things like this. I'm kind of like, this is my business. But I don't know, man, if I'm going through this and I feel like this and someone else is listening and you're like, that's what I feel, I want you to know that I understand. Sandy understands. There's other people out there who understand. There's just so much going on. It's a little overwhelming, but I will say this. Ever since I did not agree with the negative thinking in my mind, and I'm renewing my mind, and I'm like, no, this is not you. No, just because your body is feeling one thing does not mean you are that, or you will become it, or it will put you in a position of being crippled. You will not be bedridden again. We're not going to do this again. We're not going around the same mountain. We're not staying in this, neighborhood. You can't do this. You got to do something different. This is where, Sandy, you were saying you got to make a decision. That decision, make the decision and then stick to it. Fight for your life. Fight for your mind, to renew your mind. You got to choose one, fight or flight, right? Well, then fight for yourself. Fight for your mind. I don't want to cripple anymore. I don't want to be a cripple. I don't need to be one. Mentally, we get crippled. We are, oh my goodness. I don't have the exact words. I just feel like shutting down. And I got to do the opposite. I got to do the opposite. I cannot stay here. This is not my calling to stay here. This is not what I'm supposed to do. This is not what God has for me, to be afraid of even my own mind. I will say that the Bible is everything. I'm not letting that go. I just finished the book of Romans today, read the last 3 chapters, did my study on it, and I started moving around. My body wants to lay down. No, I need to get up. I need to move around. I need to cook breakfast. My husband's on his way from lunch. I got things to do. I hadn't even been cooking for him. He's been cooking for himself. He comes home and makes dinner and has been catering to me, which I'm thankful. I'm blessed to have that. because in the past it was harder when he was working different jobs and I was all alone. But I can't conform to that. I cannot stay here. I need to get up. I had my moment of, okay, I'm falling apart, and then I have to make this choice. Okay, what are you going to do from this point on? I got to stick to that choice. I got to stay rooted in Christ. I got to read the Bible, whether I feel the Bible is doing anything for me or not. You don't need to read the Bible to feel this miraculous thing happen after you read it, and all of a sudden, I mean, great if it does, but if it doesn't, that's not the point of it. You're just reading it to stay connected and rooted. You have to read it every single day, regardless of if you think you're supposed to feel something or not. You know, you're reading it to get closer to God, and don't quit reading it. You know, if you can't even find the strength to read it, then listen to it on Audible, but stay connected, stay rooted, because that's our lifeline right there. That's where I can hear him, I can feel him. Even when I'm in these darkest times and I was crippling, and I was still like, I know you're there. I don't know how to do this. And I kept saying, Nikki, release it, release it. You can't, but he can. And it was still so hard. And there was moments where I could, and I could feel like, oh man, I feel good. I could get up and move around. And then my mind it's a constant battle, you know, battlefield of the mind. It is constantly there. It's a tug of war. It's going to make you remember, oh, this, and floods you with all these feelings. And you're like, no, I got to keep pulling. I can't let you pull me into that pit. I'm going to pull back. And some days it's better. Some days, like I said, there's hard days, there's good days, there's highs, there's lows. We got to ride the wave somehow. But I don't want to give up this time, because I was almost bedridden for a whole year, and then POTS activated doing this, and I'm not even moving around. I'm looking at my steps, and they're not even a lot anymore, and I have to move around. Keep thinking, oh, something's wrong with me. I need to go do this. Go to the doctor. I need to, like, so many things are going on in my mind, and it won't shut off. And then finally, these last 2 days, I'm like, okay. Now, I told Sandy to post that one video where she was speaking over me, because that's when I got some type of clarity in my own mind. And I feel like if there's somebody out there listening to this, because I don't ever hear nobody talking about this. I've looked for podcasts, and maybe I'm not explaining it right, but I'm doing the best I can with something I don't really understand. But somebody out there's going to get it. They're going to be like, I know exactly what she's going through. And there's this voice memo that Sandy sent me that just was like, oh, girl, come on now. Come on. Like, she spoke it. And somebody needs to hear that. So, like, I told her, you need to post that. I needed it. It helped me so much. It got me out of that quicksand. It was just sinking me into that pit, and I was like, you got to post it. It literally gave me life. You have to post it. So I want to encourage you to look for that on her podcast and just listen to it and just agree with it and make that decision right then and right there. I'm going to fight for my life. I am worth it. I'm going to get out of this pit. And if it has to be by the words of another loving sister who stood in that gap for me to help push some of that rope out to get me out, I'm going to use it. I'm going to take whatever lifeline I can, whatever lifeline God sent to me, take it. Don't cripple down. Don't hide yourself and hide under a rock. Don't cut off communications to the people that can speak over you, pray over you, give you a word, give you love, give you nourishment when you can't even do it for yourself. Don't cut that off. It's funny how the enemy always tends to do that. Let me get you away from everybody, just the way he does when you see an animal that's caught its prey. It's going to catch you when you're not around nobody else. It's going to catch his prey when he's away from the flock, when he's by himself. That's the best time to attack somebody. And it's funny how that's where the enemy always wants to get us. Let me get her away from everybody. Draw the curtains, turn off the lights, make it dark. No visitors, do not disturb sign on the door. Like, let me get you all by yourself so that I'm the only voice you hear in your head. And let me make you agree with me so that I can keep you here where I want you, and you can become a part of my plan and what I have for you. Let me keep you right here. And I can only do that if we get all the other voices away. That's the only way I can manipulate you. So I want to encourage you, don't do that. Reach out to a friend the way I did. I reached out to 2 friends, and I called for that lifeline, and I said, I need help. I need it. I can't even speak over myself. And that's why you have people who step in the gap for you. And for some of you, it's going to be this podcast. It's going to be this one. It's going to be another one. It's going to be something. It's going to be a seed of encouragement that's going to help you through getting out of the stumbling block. So reach out for help. That's what I can tell you for this week that has helped me. It was reaching out for help. And I just finished reading the end of Romans, and I'm sorry this is going long, but it was saying how, people with little faith, if you have great faith, don't condemn the one with little faith. Be there and help them. Instead of being a stumbling block and saying, oh, well, you're not good enough to keep up with me. No, let me lay some stepping stones for you so that you can elevate yourself with me. Like, I have it. You may not have enough faith. You may not have the courage or whatever, but I have it, and I can present it for you. Literally, that's in, I think it's in chapter 15, where it's saying that. I just read 14, 15, and 16. So I was like, wow. That's exactly what Sandy did for me. She was a stepping stone. She put the stepping stones right there for me to find my way out of that neighborhood. I'm on my way out, I've been that for her when she gets stuck. We need that. And people don't understand it. They may not understand when you have a spiritual friend like that or something. You're like, I need to talk to my friend because I know that she will listen to God and she'll step in the gap for me, and she can get it. And it's good to have that, So anyways, I'm sorry if I couldn't explain that right, but my heart goes out to anybody in that season right now. So, yeah.
Nikki, I'm so glad that you are able to hop on here and share your 2 cents and share your thoughts and your feelings and your experience and what you're going through. I'm still super bummed we lost our episode because you lent so much to that, but I want to say it's such a valuable gift to have you here to lend to this topic. And again, I am so sorry that you are going through this. And I don't think it's a super common experience, but I think a lot of people have gone through it, and a lot of people are going to be able to relate. Like, yeah, there are no words for it, but I get what you're talking about. It is. So I talk a lot about my mountain of grief. I think that's all I've talked about on here pretty much. But when I was going through grief the first time with the passing of my daughter Jade, my 16-year-old daughter, and something that I haven't talked about on here is I also was going through long COVID. And for me personally, it was a mind-body chronic illness. It wasn't just physical medical science. I had to really examine all parts of myself, all parts of my life. I had to go in and examine my emotional health, my mental health, my spiritual health, my physical. Like, it all had to come along for the ride. And I had to go into each of those places and learn what I needed to learn, change how I needed to change, and fix some things. And that's part of what led me to repair my relationship with God and find God again, is that I couldn't get any kind of improvement without also examining the spiritual aspects of myself. And so I think this is specifically speaking to mind-body chronic illness. I mean, if you have something, you need to go get that checked out. You need to go to a doctor, and this is not to negate that or anything, or go see a therapist if you need to see a therapist. But I'm just kind of talking about my personal experience through that, and just kind of in a way to say that I can relate to that, Nikki, what you're going through. And Nikki, because you were there for that part too. And I mean, I'll just speak for myself. I struggle with, the old man struggles with anxiety, depression, and chronic physical illness. And I went on a whole journey through that. And I call this place that Nikki's talking about, I call it a setback. Everything can be going really well, and you're on the uppity up, and you're doing better, and you're feeling better, and you've gained some ground. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's just like someone takes a bat and just whacks you in your knees, and you just come down from that place. And it's rock bottom. It's the darkness. It is the desert. It is, there's not really any words for it. If you've been there, you know. If you know, you know. But it's a doorway that the enemy can use, and he will use, to get at us. And there's a lot of doorways. This, I think, is one mountain, one giant that people struggle with, which is mind-body chronic illness. And you can get into a place in these setbacks, I call them setbacks, where you just feel defeated. You feel tired. You feel worn out. You feel not yourself. You feel you just don't have your bearings about you. And just like you were saying, Nikki, it's so important not to isolate, because you really can become very weak in those places. You can feel a sense of defeat, and in every aspect of yourself, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And you do need someone to help come kind of pick you up and remind you of what you're doing and who you are, because your mind can become, it's not just being in a victim mentality there, but you can just really feel very overwhelmed. And I don't have quite the right words for this. It really is hard to put into words. But the setbacks, I want to talk about the positive of the setback. So nobody wants to be in a setback. Nobody wants to be there. It is overwhelming. It's, you look at all the progress that you've made, and then all of a sudden it just feels like you're back to square one. It's so frustrating. And the old man can creep up, and it's like, I'm never going to get out of this. This is too much. And it can become like a battle for your mind, a battle for your body, really. And those setbacks, though, for me, I had to learn with those, and maybe other people can relate, that you have to be in those. They are a gift and a curse. It reminds me of a seed under the ground, in the soil. You need to be in darkness to get planted sometimes. And you need to struggle to reach for the light, to develop the strength you're going to need when you come up through that earth and you start growing into a beautiful flower. It's like the struggle that you've got to go through actually develops you into what you need to be to stand. And I have always felt like you have to go around in that cycle. Those setbacks keep coming until you've developed what you need to develop there, so that when that hits, because it will come back around, whatever it is, whatever your flavor is, whatever that doorway that the enemy is going to use is for you, it's going to come back around. And when you've been there enough and you've learned what you needed to learn, when it comes back around, it will not be able to do that to you. But you have to be there enough times. You have to go around in that cycle enough times that you learn and you develop and you grow and you become stronger. You change your perspectives. You change who you're relying on in those places. Like, I always felt like I developed the most faith in those places. And sometimes I felt like God abandoned me there. Like I was just going to be stuck there. Like, where are you, God? Like, are you even hearing my prayers? I felt like that a lot. And it was like, I feel like God kind of left me there like, I know you want this, but I know you need this. You need to develop your faith. You need to develop your reliance on me. You need to develop your trust no matter what's going on, no matter how dark it gets. You need to build your muscles of speaking life over yourself no matter what's going on, no matter how bleak it looks. I need you to walk by faith and not by sight. I need you to stop paying attention to what it looks like and hang on to your faith and hang on to it long enough that that blessing that I have that's coming down the line, you can connect with that. You can meet me at that blessing. Your faith can meet the blessing. And I need you to develop so you can hold that blessing. Like, there was just a lot in those setbacks for me. And I know that they are, nobody wants to be there. They're awful. They are awful, but there is a gift in them. And I think the hardest part is enduring that place and being there. so that you can gain what needs to be gained there, so that you can come out of that. And the next time it comes around, it cannot get you because you've developed in a way you need to develop so that you don't need it anymore. You don't need to be there anymore. You literally can't go there anymore. You've outgrown it. And yeah, I think that place is hard. I know what you're talking about. I've been there. It comes back around to tempt me all the time. And again, it's a practice of focusing not on the storm, but focusing on Christ, because Christ does it all. And it is hard. Sometimes we get distracted and we start focusing on the storm and we start telling the mountain how little our God is. And we tell God how big our mountain is, and don't turn a pebble into a mountain. These are pebbles to God. These are little pebbles. Not that they're not important to him, and what we're going through isn't important to him, but it's a little pebble and we make it bigger. We forget who we are. And that's why I think it is really important, Nikki, that we have people to lift us up and stand in that gap. I think that is really important. And yeah, I have been there. I could do a whole series of podcasts on that place, but I'm not going to because it's pretty depressing. But I feel like I had more to add to that, but now that I'm here, my mind's just kind of going blank. So I think that I'll leave it there. Nikki, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that. I'm going to insert this here just in case Nikki doesn't add anything. I probably won't respond again. Nikki, I'll let you close it out if you feel like you have anything more to add. And if not, we'll go into the next parts. But I'm going to leave this here. So if you want to check out part 2, there's going to be a part 2 to this. This is the part 2 that we actually did have to the original Victimhood podcast that we lost. So I'm going to put that in here. It's going to feel like a weird transition. But I'm going to throw it out there. It might repeat some of what was said here, but yeah, I feel like there's enough useful things in there that I do want to publish that. And then the episode after, so it'll be a part 3, is going to be the one that Nikki bragged up that I sent her. It was like a prayer, a declaration on this stuff, on this very moment that we've been going through. And it's just speaking life over ourselves in this moment, in this dark spot, in this setback. And if you want to catch that, that'll be part 3. So, okay, handing it over to you, Nikki, or we're going to say goodbye here.
Okay, I do want to add something because the way you said it, when you're going through it, you're going to find your identity. Now, when I had said before, it's like you're in this dark place, you don't feel good. You got your mind going crazy. You're going to conform to either one or two things. You're going to conform into what your mind is saying, that I can't do this. I can't. My body is just not doing well. And you're focusing and basing everything on your future, on how you feel now. So your emotions and your feelings are leading everything from that point. And you conform to them. You make an agreement. And that's something that we have done a lot in the past. But if you can find the identity in Christ in it, that's the place to do it. It's in that darkness when you make that choice, when you say, I will not conform to my thoughts. I will not become my thoughts, but I will renew my thoughts into what it is I need to be, what God is going to bring me out of. And if I can find the peace and my agreement in my Christ identity to say, yes, I receive that, God. You say that I am redeemed. I am renewed. I am a new creature in you. I am seated in heavenly places. You say all these things about me. Who am I going to believe right now in this darkness, in this pain, in this whirlwind of a storm? I have to make a choice. Am I what my thoughts are telling me, what my body is feeling? Am I my emotions? Or am I going to rise above that and say, you know what? I reject that. And even though I'm feeling this, and even though I feel like I can't make it through, I can't, my God says, through Christ, you can do all things. It's already established. You have been sealed. You have been redeemed. Let the weak say, I am strong. This is my moment where I am weak. And I say, you know what? In Christ, I am strong. I can do all things. I may not feel like it. I don't need to feel what I know. I have to rise above that. I have to say, this is something I'm going through. Yes. It is something that is happening. I'm not denying it. I see it, I feel it, and I hear it. So in order for my body to catch up to my renewed mind, I have to give it time. I have to train it. Same way when you're on a diet and your body's used to taking all that sugar and using it for energy, you have to retrain your liver to take energy from the fat that you're eating. And there's a transitioning place, and that transitioning place sucks. And in that transitioning place, you're craving all the things that make your body feel good, all the things that taste good, all the things that you're remembering. I want my sugar, I want my treats, I want my donuts, I want my pizza, I want my french fries, I want all of these things in the transitioning, because that's what I know, that's what I'm used to, that's my old pattern. So in the transitioning, it's hard. It's hard because I want to climb under a rock. I want to just dive under there. I want to just be alone, and I don't know, I can't do this, and let me just wallow in my thoughts. Let me become my feeling, because this is what I feel. This is what I see that's real to me. It's happening now. But no, even in the storm, even while it's happening, Peter still trusted Jesus and stepped out of the boat. And I know a lot of people say, yeah, but he sunk. Yeah, but he's the only disciple that stepped out of the boat. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you need to focus on if you just reframe everything that we're looking at. I acknowledge that I am in a situation I don't want to be in. I am feeling the things that I don't want to feel. I can't quiet my mind sometimes. It's getting away from me. This is all getting away from me. And then pause. That's when you have to read. That's when you have to edify yourself. Take it in. Even through the storm. Even when you don't feel like it. Even when I'm too anxious to read. I don't know. It's too much. And I felt like breaking down. God will make a way, and he will send the people. The stuff that I've seen him do for me this week when I felt I couldn't make it, I need to focus and reframe my mind on. See, that's where he came through, instead of, yeah, but I felt bad. Looking back on those, yeah, but I felt bad Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yeah, I just haven't been feeling good. I could look at it that way, or I can say, God sent this person on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I had relief, and he showed me you can have another way. There's another way. Let me break through all that crap, all that storm, everything that's flooding you. Let me break through. Give me a window. Let me show you what your life can be. And all of it, I felt normal, and I felt like, oh, this feels good. And then whenever I start to feel bad in the evening, it's like, oh, it came back. And then that's what we seem to focus on. No, I can have that little window that God gave me earlier, and it can become my whole life. But I have to make an agreement on what it is I'm going to believe and trust. Even while you're feeling it, even while the thoughts are going through your head, not denying it. Yes, you're feeling it. Yes, this is happening. But if you have the Bible and you have the truth, and you have to read it, and you have to conform to it, you have to identify with it, take on that identity and say, you know what, I got this. And you know what, your body may not believe it, and you may not renew your mind, your body will catch up. Everything has already happened in the spiritual world. It's going to catch up in the body. Keep speaking these things. It's already done. It's literally already done. You just haven't experienced it yet. It hasn't developed yet in the way that you want to see it. But all things are done. Everything has been supplied. Every name of God, Yahweh, Jehovah Rapha, Jehovah Nisi, who else? Jehovah Jireh. He's everything. Everything has a supply. Your need has a supply for it. It's already done. Everything that you speak, it doesn't come back void, even though you don't feel it right away. And even though you're wanting to hear, I need it now, I need it whenever. Plant the seed first. Don't skip that part. We all want to rush through. We want that quick fix. Like, oh, I need to feel better right then and now. We want that quick fix. And like I said, sometimes it happens. That's called a miracle. But sometimes healing happens, and that takes time. And beautiful things happen through both. You have to appreciate both. But there's learning to be done. So it's not always going to be easy, and it sucks being here in this darkness, and I want to get out of it as soon as possible, but I'm going to appreciate everything that I'm learning through it. I want to see what God is trying to teach me. What can I become even in the darkness, even in this hard time? Something is happening. I'm in the fire. I'm being reformed. I'm being shaped into something. Something old is chipping away. I got to get rid of some old negative thought patterns that were probably God couldn't use them. So I need to go through this place to chip it away, get rid of it. I have to make a decision. Is these thoughts coming with me in my new man? I can't. I have to let it go for me to develop into what I'm supposed to. I got to chip away this thought, get rid of it, overcome it with Christ. Chip away these feelings. I got to get rid of it. Overcome it with Christ. Chip all this away, put it under my feet where it is already, because it's already been handled. It's the work is finished in Christ. Put it under my feet and go into my new season and my new man without all this extra baggage. This is the season of getting rid of it. This is where I have to make a choice. Nikki, I can't be this renewed person in Christ and carry my old baggage with me. You can't take this on to the next journey. This stuff ain't gonna fit you. We can't have it. It's you can't have two things living in your mind. You're gonna have to believe one or the other. So I guess because I'm ending this one, I want to tell you, go ahead and listen to part 2, because it's going to go in, okay, so where'd I go from now? What is this? Is this the breaking point? For me, I do feel like I am in a pit and I am at rock bottom, because I want to hide under the rock. Am I going to hide under the rock, or I'm going to get on top of the rock? How do I do it? And I feel like, other than reaching out, speaking over yourself, changing your words, not following with the imaginations of your old thoughts of like, oh, what if this happens? What if, you got to stop those thoughts. You have to not let that replay. You have to not let that story play out on all these horrible things you're imagining. You have to put a stop to it, but you can't leave your mind empty. You're going to have to refill it. So listen to part 2, and I feel like that's going to be very edifying for somebody. And hopefully that it blesses you. And that's exactly what it is I am doing to get out of this victimhood in Jesus' name.